Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing With Sleezy, the podcast. This is episode 20. We have 2 episodes left for season 1 of Vibing With Sleezy. It has been a great season 1. I appreciate all the guests, all the fans, everyone that's reached out. We are over 1,000 downloads officially now. We are on every continent now, except for South America. Hopefully we can reach South America by episode 21. For booking episode 20, there was a lot of navigating around. My special guest, actually, I was going to have on for season 2, but I did some navigation due to some travel plans for some other guests, and now these guests that I was going to have for season 2 are on season 1, and they're also 2 of my very close homies, and it is none other than Karaglanis and Kyle Johnson. So I really appreciate the guys coming out. They have listened to the podcast. They have been supporters. I've supported them on different endeavors as well. But basically, overall, pretty much we just were talking, hanging out for the weekend, and we were like, you know what? Let's do this podcast Monday. We're all 3 free, and see what can happen. And what's great about this episode is this is going to be similar to the Brandon Case and Tremaine Wilson episode, where we're not really plugging anything or really talking anything specific, but we're going to dive into a lot of just fun stuff, stories, and you really do have 3 very unique personalities in one room right now. I'm doing something that I'm going to bring back that I did on the Lady V podcast, aka Virginia Boone, who I was actually hanging out with yesterday. I am going to have a bowl like I did for her episode, and we're going to draw out topics. So I actually submitted 10. I had Eric and Kyle submit 5 each where they came. They did forget them. As they did forget them, they came back over and we tried to get the other 10 ready. And we got the other 10 ready officially. So we're going to jump right into the podcast. And how you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks for coming over. And you brought some party favors. We're going to have a good time. So overall, how about I ask you, Eric? What's your experience with podcasts? Like you said that you've been on the radio before. Is that you've done some kind of interview before?
Yeah. So I've been on WHAS and Good Morning America. No, I'm just kidding. But I've been on some stuff, and we were just promoting Brian's War. Mm-hmm. But it's still different, It takes some getting used to, but it's nice to be behind it and be able to speak your word and know that you're getting out to a good audience.
Now, Kyle, do you have any experience with any recording at all?
No, this is my first time. Hello, world. Glad to be here. Glad to make my presence known.
Yeah, you. I'll tell you this. I've known Eric Karaglanis since middle school. We basically lived like a block away. We've been very close. We've always been super cool and known each other. I mean, everybody loses touch over the years, but we kind of reconnected a couple years ago and been hanging out. But Kyle, I actually just met through Eric a couple years ago. We knew of each other, just never hung out. Me and Kyle become buddies. And I'll say this about Kyle, now getting to know him, he's a very interesting guy, has a lot of good theories on stuff. And I'll be honest, he kind of looks at things differently than pretty much anybody. I think I look at stuff a certain way, Eric looks at stuff a certain way, but a lot of times I like how Kyle doesn't look at it like at a particular bias. He's kind of open-minded about what's out there. So both guests, like I said, very unique personalities and be a lot of fun. We actually tried to start a football team for unfortunately COVID shut it down, but we had a football tournament last summer. And damn, did we train hard.
Oh, man, we were ready for it.
I mean, we were out there. I really think that we could still go up against some teams if we were still training like that. It was hardcore.
We were the A-team.
Yeah. I mean, your dad was even out there throwing. I mean, Kyle.
Pretty sure he threw his arm out.
Yeah, he was feeling a little bit young out there. Kyle, did you have, did you like playing defense or offense more when we were playing football?
I grew up playing soccer. I played defense soccer all my life, so I love defense. Mm-hmm. I know it's not the most exciting, not scoring all the goals, but I love shutting somebody down anytime I can.
Especially on secondary. Yeah. I remember you and Eric were having some battles there. Y'all were having fun. No. I'm not gonna bring up Kyle Moss and you.
It's too late. Let's bring it.
Kyle did Moss Eric, but I think I don't know. There could be
holding.
holding.
I was impressed by Cal.
He was impressed. There could be holding. We don't know. There was no refs, but it was a very nice play. And to be honest,
I caught it.
Everybody was jumping up and down.
My hands.
It was
That's
very. It was very.
I'll be honest with it. You know, he got my ass.
Yeah, it was
but that was a good time. I really wish that could have happened. That tournament would have been a lot of fun. I really think that with Brandon Case and a few others we had on the team, and we had talent. We were ready, and everybody was ready for their position.
Eddie Rice,
Rice,
lanky, just anybody.
Yeah, shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Eddie.
Sugar free.
Yeah, sugar free in the house. Eddie is the man. I've talked about Eddie on past episodes. Well, shout out to Eddie and Bullet Bourbon. Hopefully, Bullet Bourbon wants to sponsor me. Yo, Eddie. Talk to your boss. Get me sponsored, bro.
Yeah,
so shout out to Eddie, nicest guy in the world. We'll also shout out to his brother Larry. Larry's doing. Larry, I'm really impressed. Larry has started taking on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's not like, hey, I do BJJ or I just do it casually. I like to watch it. No, he's actually doing it. He gets choked out all the time, and he says that it's like it just keeps making him better. And he's really good at grappling and doing that stuff. So shout out to Larry. We're gonna dive into the first topic. Let's get into this mix and let's see what happens. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. When I did this with Virginia, the episode was really good. So let's see what happens here.
Let's get it.
The first topic. Oh, we're getting deep on the first one. Damn.
Is it DMT or
why are we here?
Oh,
oh, wow. So why are we here is the first topic. And the way we'll do this is I'll give you like just kind of my thought, and then I'll let both of you kind of say your thoughts and then kind of go into explanation. I'll say why we're here is, in my opinion, I will say that it's almost as it's somewhat of still of a mystery to me. I'll be honest, like I believe in God, but also too, I also kind of want to know what is the main thing, and like with all the changes that go on, and it's like, why are we here at a certain time? Why is this person there at a certain time? And and that can actually tie into another topic we have in there. It's gonna be hilarious. Just talking about how, which it's not gonna spoil it, but like talking about people using the restroom back in the day and like history and like historic shit. To be honest with you, it really does make you think like, why was that person picked to live during that time, or that leader, or that creature? And then same thing for us. It's like, hey, why were we picked to live in this technology world? So. And it could be also where you say, well, there's good and bad for everybody. But, Kyle, what's your thoughts, since I know this is your topic? One of them you picked, because it's very deep.
All right, so why are we here? I don't believe we have a specific reason. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of the multiverse concept, where every possibility of every reality exists simultaneously. And we, when we die, right? We become part of this unified consciousness that exists through every possibility of everything, and we have to separate ourselves from that to live a specific existence to make it real. So we are here to live a unique specific existence to bring it into reality. And
I feel it.
That's fucking deep.
That was deep as fuck. But to be honest with you, that's why Kyle's great for a podcast. That's why Kyle needs to be on more podcasts. I almost feel like, in a way, Kyle is one person who would be perfect to have his own podcast as well, because that shit would get deep. That was a great answer. Eric, your answer.
Yeah, I guess my point of view is really more of like, I think life's somewhat of a test. I do believe in God. Mm-hmm. But I've also experimented with some stuff with Kyle, and I'm very open-minded. Mm-hmm. I'm not just stuck on one structure right now.
Yeah, which is good. Which is good for everybody to be.
I don't think anybody has to be, and I think that you can believe whatever you want to, and no other thing should be really affected by that. But and what I'm trying to say is, I guess, I think on Earth, really our goal is just to be good people. Like, don't hurt one another, don't steal. Be honest, try to raise one another. Like we're all family out here, honestly, and we should just take care of one another. So I think the test is just to be a good person.
And this isn't me. And this isn't me questioning. You brought up a really good point. I have a question for you. Since you say this is a test, and this is not. And I know you don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. But I want to ask you this. So you brought up a great point right there. Why? So if it's a test to show who can be good and bad, and this is something I think about a lot because I feel like I'm a really good person and try to give good into the world. Why do a lot of good people die so early and young? If it's a test of do you think they reached their peak of their good that they could have spread it, or do you think it's a test where, like, why do you think people that are complete shits they have a longer test? Like, why does each person have a different test time? That's what I want to say.
So I would say it's a very difficult question. Nobody really has the answer for it. But,
it's a very difficult one. But Kyle might have the answer.
I'm not going to dig down religion, but like in my point of view,
true,
that status, some people that are younger, that die young and they're great people, I think that maybe God kind of gave them that early invite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of shitty for the people that are living here and like miss them and care for them. I've lost loved ones. It's shitty when they die young. When they die old, it doesn't matter. It's a painful thing. But I would have to say that's my stance on that. Is like maybe he was.
The reason I asked you
that's the only way in religion I think I can think about it.
Yeah.
And then other ways, that's why I'm kind of like things are meant to be, and I kind of think in Kyle's standpoint, like it was just something that had to happen.
Yeah, I feel like everyone has a purpose. I also feel like sometimes we really can't question when people have left early or stayed later. And the thing about it too is the reason I ask is because it's a mystery to me too. I think about it a lot of times of, this person left in, but I do believe kind of what you said and kind of piggyback with him that everyone has a purpose and a goal. I feel like everyone has like goals that they achieve, and then I think a lot of times people see those goals that they have inside them, and they continuously try to achieve them. And it might even keep the journey more alive, maybe, when people are doing when they're like on that main journey.
Well, you know how like when there's an old couple that's alive for a long time, they've been together for a long time. There's so many stories about how the wife dies within 2 weeks.
Marriage or something, or crazy.
The husband will pass away.
Yeah.
Because I believe in his mind was set that I've lived my life. I have nothing else here for me. I want to join my wife.
Yeah.
And they let themselves go, and I think mind is a big factor in that.
Oh yeah, true. No, I
got
totally
that
agree.
head injury, and I think I wouldn't be the man I was today, like I am today, if I was someone that was thinking, I'm never gonna speak again, or like I'm never gonna be able to do this. No, I think mind over matter on a lot of things.
Yeah, so. You were working towards getting back to who you were and normal. Now, Kyle, what were you gonna say there? You felt like you said you kind of knew the answer to that question.
Well, he was talking about why do bad things exist? Why do bad things happen to good people? And
maybe that was too broad of a question.
No, it's fine. If every possibility of everything exists, and you're moving through all the types of existences that you're a part of, the one that you're singularly living through your choices, why do bad things exist? Well, they have to exist because for everything to exist, all of the possibilities exist. Therefore, all the bad possibilities have to also exist. So it's not a utopia. It has to be the bad stuff too, because everything exists. And you still have your free will and your choices to move you through all the possibilities of your existence as you in this life. So your decisions still affect where you go, but all of the other realities exist. And so all the bad things will exist and have to exist simultaneously.
I like that answer because I'll get into detail after that. I'll say this, that's a great answer. It makes you think too. Also, how good would life be if there wasn't some bad? Because you got to think about this. Let me put it in perspective. How good is it to crack open that beer or spark a J after a shit day at work? I mean, yeah, the work sucked, the shitty day. I'm not saying you want to have shitty work days to go have this, but it's like you crack open that beer, you smoke, or you go do something fun every night. it's just like, even the weekends are so exciting. You're like, there's nothing to do. I'm with my homies, my friend, I'm with my girl or whoever, and it's just like, I'm living it up, I'm partying, or I'm out to eat. It's like, when you get away from something shitty, it almost makes great things even better.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So
you got weight off your shoulders, man. You got weight off your shoulders. You get to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
The bad times definitely make you appreciate the good times so much more.
Yeah, it's such a. I just feel like that's such a point. So it's great with these answers. That's what I love, is that we're almost reaching two different belief situations on that question, or even three. But we're also so open-minded to the point of, like, it's still a what if. That's why it's such a fun discussion question. I think that's a great question.
I think that's one of the most important things in life that you can do, is to just be open-minded about everything that you come across, because that's where you really learn and begin to understand things about yourself and the world around you, is to be open-minded to the stuff that's not your box that you're trying to trap yourself in.
Everybody wants everything when it comes to materialistic shit. People need to start spiritually and mentally wanting everything, learning, adapting, like absorbing. Everybody needs to start absorbing more. I think that as humans, we need to absorb what's around us, what's around the world,
and just ignore it. You see so many people nowadays, like just a homeless person on the side of the street, and they're literally having signs up. You know, I'm not saying that all of them did wrong. You know, there's some people that are mentally ill or are drug addicts or whatever. Still, I would never want to be there. And like, I feel like a lot of people just drive past the road nowadays, and they look at them and there's like, shame on them.
You know, it was
like it's kind of heartless.
It is heartless
in some point of view.
I'll be honest with you, it's very heartless, and I'm one of these people that give to a lot of people, and I don't know what they're doing with it, but it ain't none of my fucking business. I'm just trying to help them out, and to be honest with you, it's their decision if they want to take the money and do whatever they, you know, it's their decision. But it's my decision to try to help them as well. So at the end of the day, I did my part, but I've given a lot, and I'll be honest, it's bit me sometimes where I've ran to the guy again, he's gave me a bullshit story where I'm just kind of like, oh, well, why did I? But then at the same time, there's a lot of situations where I see how well it's done. A very touching moment actually happened yesterday. I'm in the Highlands, and it's around 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm by the McDonald's there on Bardstown in Taylorsville, and this homeless guy was completely crazy. He's screaming up in the air, singing, and I just hear this old lady roll down her window, start yelling stuff in front of me, and so I rolled my window down because I want to hear what she's saying, and she's yelling, "Let me get you something to eat," and he gave her an order for McDonald's, and you know what? She pulled right into McDonald's, and he starts walking towards McDonald's. It's shit like that makes you not only believe in humans, but it's just a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest, it makes me more motivated to give back and to do well. And another thing about homeless, people need to really also realize it's mental illness a lot of times. So quit judging the homeless because they're in that situation. A lot of times it's mental illness. They don't have the resources. Louisville definitely doesn't have the resources. They definitely got to get together with Louisville's government to really figure out what the fuck to do, because there is an epidemic. It's spreading around, and these people need help. And open your mind up and quit just assuming, oh, they're poor peasants because you have some fucking money in your pocket. Like, shut the fuck up and realize it can be mental illness.
I know some of the biggest people that act like they have the biggest hearts and the biggest,
but probably wouldn't give a goddamn dime.
But they'll wear the most expensive clothing, and then they see someone walk down the street, have hundreds of dollars in their pocket, and just like roll their window up and ignore them.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I don't want the hassle. I don't want the problem. No, shut up.
And they're on the road,
Yeah.
I'll literally give them $20. It's like, and you shouldn't have to record that. That doesn't need to be. The only reason I'm talking about here is just to promote it.
I'm not gonna. And there's a guy I know that's not homeless. I'm not gonna insult him. I'm not gonna say his name out thing. But to be honest with you, there's times where I'm balling a budget. He asked me recently to borrow some money. I let him borrow some money. And you know why? I didn't have to. And to be honest, like, I'm going through a job transition right now. I'm about to start a new gig. I didn't want to do that. I didn't have to do that at this time. But to be honest with you, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And, it's like, I'm helping him. He needs it. And I got it right now. And I'll be fine.
And that's good karma for you, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's good to think that way. But at the same time, before I think of karma, I'm just kind of like, if I was fucked, I would want that too.
Yeah.
And man, that's what's great.
For, though.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to draw this next subject. This is a fucking great subject, man. This is like my favorite subject, probably candy bars. So let me tell you about this. The reason I put this is one of my subjects, and let me put the reason I put this in here.
Okay.
I got a problem. I know we're all addicted to something, or we have something we really like. I have a candy bar addiction. I mean, it's to the point where I love eating all kinds of candy bar. I think all my friends will say it. They probably don't want to say it to maybe hurt my feelings, but every time candy's out, the office, people's friends have, hey, you got any candy? Like, I'm always asking because I just like that candy. And to be honest with you, Milky Way Midnight, that's my top candy bar, but I am loving that Kit Kat mint chocolate dark combo. And so there's just not a candy bar I've met that's gone wrong, but there's some that are a little hard to chew. But lately I found the classic Caramello has just blown me out of the water again, how fucking good it is. Let me ask you guys, what's your favorite candy bars?
Man, I'm gonna get ahead of you, Kyle, because
Please,
once you get on it, you're probably not gonna stop.
Go ahead.
Probably nowadays it's probably Kit Kat. Simple Kit Kat.
Shout out to Kit Kat. That's 2 Kit Kat. Hey, Kit Kat, we need a sponsor. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly though, like, I don't know if y'all have ever tried that Snickers ice cream bar, but that shit
is good.
On point.
That's like a classic. That's like a classic one.
But so like, I had a candy problem when I was a kid. My dad was Porno Frank. Shout out, Dad. And he had the hookups on everything. So like, he literally knew a guy that was a candy bar rep, and he would trade him porno mags, and he would get a bunch of candy bars.
Wow.
So literally, when I was a kid, I had candy bars and just underneath my bed at all times. Like, oh yeah, all the sweets.
Porno Frank took care of you with the candy.
I had about 10 cavities by the time I was 10. Like, I had an issue.
Yeah. Oh, it can be addicting. I mean, the shit is good.
So I think it was actually a good learning, because like, I'm not a big sweet tooth now. I hardly ever eat sweets.
And if anybody listens to this today, if you are an avid Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast listener, here is a listener exclusive. All Walgreens candy bars until tonight, I believe, are 88 cents with your rewards card. Go enter it today.
Get in there, Walgreens, holler at us.
He's gonna holler about.
We need another sponsor, Walgreens.
Whatchamacallit, go ahead.
Why are you gonna snitch on my account? Alright, I'm gonna lay up a candy bar that most people don't think of very often. But if I'm hitting a gas station on a road trip and I need that sweet tooth to hit me,
oh yeah,
I'm hitting a whatchamacallit.
Oh snap!
Whatchamacallit is my game.
Now, do you find it hard to find them at some stores when you say you are on a road trip and you just hit like an independent food mart?
They're everywhere. People don't talk about them. Whatchamacallit is cream of the crop. I love Reese's. It's always one of my favorite. But nowadays, I go to the gas station. I need a candy bar. King size, whatchamacallit, all day.
Great call. That's a classic. See, that's why Kyle is he has a unique. He's trying the whatchamacallit. I'll be honest. I probably look at
what's like Rice Krispie kind of with chocolate.
Crispy caramel, chocolate. Maybe peanut butter. It's like every candy bar.
They didn't know what to call it, so it was whatchamacallit.
That is a great combo, and shout out to Willy Wonka too. I mean, Willy Wonka definitely made me like candy even more. But it's just like candy just goes hard. And I remember finding the Wonka bars that they actually made with the graham cracker and chocolate. I always wondered. I was like, is this really what fucking Wonka envisioned? But I was like, I'm gonna eat it because it's a Wonka bar and it's tight. So because it has chocolate and graham cracker.
I'm gonna take you out for a whatchamacallit after the show.
Yeah. Okay.
I got you.
All right, thanks, dog. Shout out to Kyle and the whatchamacallit. All right, the next topic is, this is going to be a good one. And here's the deal. There's some stories that probably won't make this podcast that would get all three of us in trouble, just some crazy shit we've done in our lives. But this subject was your craziest party story. Man. Wow. So I'm going to let you guys think about it a little bit. I'll tell you my craziest actual party story. Just of the level. I've been to a lot of crazy parties and I've done a lot of crazy shit in my life. And but I'll say probably one of the craziest things was a house party in high school. And everybody was playing Kings, the card game, drinking game, and a dare happened. And next thing you know, I had to run butt-ass naked on a Tony Little Gazelle exercise equipment in front of the whole party. And I'll be honest, it was like one of the craziest party moments ever. And it was just insanity. But I've been to some crazy parties. I remember, back in college, I almost drank, I think, 23 PBRs in like one party and was fucking almost like wanting to like sneak into the swimming pool and maybe jump off a roof into the pool. I don't know, do crazy shit. So there's a lot of wild times. What are some of your wild times?
So I used to throw some pretty decent parties.
We know. If you're from Louisville or J-Town and you haven't been, if you went to J-Town High School or Fern Creek High School or Wagner and you didn't go to a Karaglanis party, you probably missed out because there was some epic bangers back then.
Sat at the wrong table at the lunch.
So my parents were they were going on an all-inclusive trip to Jamaica. I'm like, hell yeah, thanks for not taking me. I'll make it up here, I guess. So my buddy, I won't say his name, he just happened to get his hands on one of those crazy arm inflatable tube guys, just kind of laying in his lap. I don't know where it came from. So it ended up going in the backyard. It's going crazy. We have probably 50 of my buddies that I'm really close with that we were just all going to town, having a good time. And next thing I know is my street turned into a one-way. Like, I had cars on both sides of it. I had people that I'd never met in my life. They're like, I just seen what was going on, and it was like...
Yeah, and your street, too, and to describe his neighborhood, it's more of like an elevated hill as you enter the neighborhood from Waterston Trail, and then as soon as you get to his main road, you're just looking at flat neighborhood road until it hits Stony Brook. And it's the same way on the right side. You're coming from below a hill and taking a right. So, you're just... to describe it, to give you a picture for the people listening, I mean, this is a very tight neighborhood. Every house is kind of next to each other, so people probably were like, what the fuck is going on in the neighborhood? Like, for sure.
And my dad was crazy then, so even when we threw parties and my dad was there, he'd get on the speaker and say, fuck the neighbors, they knew we were wild, so they probably thought my dad was throwing this party, but it was me, and it was pretty outrageous. One of my buddies had left his wallet out and someone had taken money out of it. Jordan, if you're listening, I'm talking about you. And so he got his money.
We're 30 minutes in, and somebody's already been name dropped.
Yeah, Jordan Duncan, man. Someone took your money, and I was mad about it, and I didn't know who it was. It's like, man, I just threw a nice party and everybody's supposed to be respectful,
Yeah.
Someone took my buddy's money, and I'm drunk, I'm tore up, and I just call out everybody at the party, and I punched the top step of my basement, and I broke the shit out of my hand.
Was it wood?
Yeah, it was a wooden step, braced very well, and so I ate a popsicle stick, wrapped my finger up. That was the first day my parents had gone on vacation. So I continued after that day, after kicking everybody out, to party for 9 more days. I cut the grass with my broken hand. I came back, my parents came back home, and Mom's like, what happened to your hand? I was like, we were playing basketball. And someone threw a pass and just jammed my hand wrong. And I was like, I thought it was just jammed, it's okay. I went to the doctor's like, no, you should have came here 10 days ago. You either need to re-break it or just let it heal. So I just let it heal, so now I have 3 knuckles on one hand. But another messed up thing is
wow.
Eddie Rice had the same hand to his hand. It was from a basketball pass.
Oh my gosh! And you know what? I'm so glad you bring that up because let me tell you about Eddie. Shout out to Eddie Rice again. His broken hand. We had tickets for the Chelsea Inter Milan international soccer game up in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil. They were doing a U.S. tour, bringing the teams over from Europe and so I bought tickets, and Eddie's like, I'm down. So I'm a diehard Chelsea fan. So you get there, you get a Chelsea flag. I got my Chelsea gear on. Well, here's the only problem. Eddie had hand surgery that morning at 10 a.m. to fix his hand, surgically repair his hand. Then they give him painkillers. Eddie goes back to my crib. We're just chilling, playing video games, and he's popping the painkillers because he needs to, because he's in pain. but he's loopy as fuck. Like, he'd been loopy. So I look at this man and I said, "You ready to go to Indy?" And he's like, "You know what, fuck it, son, let's go." So he was down, but he had this broken hand, just surgically repaired. It's all wrapped up. We're at the Chelsea and Milan game. I swear, I think he was still a little loopy. He had a blast. He was like, "It's worth it, man. It's worth it." But it was hilarious because he's on painkillers. He's got this hand. He just had surgery repair, and I was like, so shout out to Eddie for being loyal and for definitely going with the trip. You know, he could have stayed back, but he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go." And that's pretty boss, man, to have surgery and then be able to go. But he was in the stadium kind of like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I'm real loopy, but I'm just waving a flag going crazy. So it was a good time.
He's a real guy, man.
Yeah.
He helped me move a couch.
Oh, dude, he's helped me move like 7 times, dude. Like, I mean, every time I move, I'm like, "Bro, you know what time it is." And he's like, "All right, I'm there." So shout out to Eddie. Kyle, you're craziest.
I've had a lot of good times in my days, but when you ask me the question of party memory that I can, the first thing that pops in my head, North Coast Festival in Chicago.
Shout out to North Coast.
Me and my buddy Johnny, we had partied all day at the festival. And we had taken all kind of, little hallucinogens.
Is this Johnny Wright?
Yes, Johnny
Rest
Wright.
in peace, Johnny Wright.
R.I.P. Johnny Wright.
Shout out to Johnny Wright. Rest in peace.
Homeboy, one of my best friends ever.
Myers Mills.
So, after doing all the party favors at the festival, we were bailing out, and we tried to catch a cab, and no cabs are stopping for anybody. We're like, "What's going on?" So we're just wandering the streets of Chicago, and we end up walking the right way on the street to find this specific side part that picks you up. It's like a taxi swoop and scoop.
Yeah.
We found it, and this guy in a Prius scoops us up, and we're like out there at the moment, and he scoops us up. It's a Prius. And he's got headphones in, driving the car. Didn't say a word to us. Quietest car ride, am I right? And we're both in the back seat. Like, don't know what to say. So we're in this quiet ass car. He's got headphones on. Can't talk to him. Couldn't really talk to each other. And we're riding home to our hotel in Chicago at the time. And there's an intersection. Light turns red. Taxi driver didn't stop at the red light, didn't go all the way through, stops in the middle of the intersection and waits for the light to turn green. So we're sitting in this back seat of this car off our nuts and can't talk to the guy. The light's red, middle intersection, doesn't move, and we just hang out in the middle of the intersection, and we're looking at each other dying. We're like also like not trying to be audible about the craziness of the situation.
Yeah.
So we're quiet laughing the whole time. But it was one of the most hilarious experiences of my life.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It was hilarious.
Would you say that that festival was dope up there?
Yeah, it was a great festival. Good time.
Is it still going?
I'm pretty sure it does.
What kind of music? EDM?
I don't know what they're playing now. This was probably back 2012, 2011. But yeah, there's like EDM stuff. There's a good variety really there. It's a good festival. It's in a nice park in Chicago. It's a good time.
Nice.
If you want to be wild, you can jump the fence. You can get in for free. Don't tell them I told you that, but everybody did it. Just drive up there and jump the fence.
Nice.
You'll get it.
Okay, we'll be not getting that festival to sponsor us because now everyone's in free. Okay, so thanks to Kyle. Our next topic is a good one. Kind of ties into what you two told me at the pool when we were all at the pool the other day. You all mentioned that you all wanted to eventually invent something. You didn't know what, and then just strike it rich and be done. And who wouldn't want to do that? The question of this topic is one I wrote. What's one thing in your life? And this doesn't have to be some huge goal. This could literally be temporary. This could be what you want to do next month. You make it what you want it to be. What's one thing you want to do in your life that you haven't done yet?
I mean, we talking about anything.
Anything.
I mean, I just want to go to Greece.
Anything. I mean, so you want to go to Greece. Kyle, do you know yours?
Yeah, I want to go to Thailand and get tattooed by a Buddhist monk.
His gets crazy, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
He won't get a tattoo until it's from a Buddhist monk.
I want it to be my first tattoo.
Why the Buddhist monk? Is there they have a certain art of it doing the tattoo, or is it just
they put on it's like protection prayers and like stuff, and they do like stick and poke tattoos, and you don't get to pick what it is or where it goes. You just go over there and give them like a gift, and they pick your tattoo off your like vibe and put it where they think it should be. And I think their tattoos look dope.
Kyle's gonna come back with a face tattoo.
But it's something I've always wanted to do. I haven't gotten the chance, but it's on my list. That's my one thing.
I like that.
Would you approve of it was on your face? If they came at you and you're like, you know, this is what it should be, and you'd be like, maybe not, bro.
You know what? Try me. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Take me to Thailand.
I would probably.
You should get the airbender tattoo on your head, dude.
I would probably say one thing I want to do is I want to eventually, I want to definitely travel more internationally. I've done it before in the past, but there's a couple friends I want to see. I either want to go to Wales or Japan. I'm trying to figure out which one would go first because I got two very close friends I've actually never met, been pen pals for over a decade. So I love to just kind of like, I guess, if we're talking trips, do a trip and meet my pen pal. But another thing that I just really want to, would actually like do that I guess doesn't fit the trip category. I really one day in my life want to own a camel, and it's weird. It's something I haven't really expressed, but it's funny. I'm friends with a girl on Facebook who I've met through acquaintances before, and she's obsessed with camels and wants to own a camel. And so when she's always posting about it, I'm like, I have that same feelings and thoughts, and so like I need a camel too because that's what I've always wanted. It's my favorite animal, so I just think it'd be fun. I could keep like a farm and like have the camel, maybe multiple camels, and just ride them around. And you know, I just think it'd be fun.
Zoo out of it, you know?
I don't know if I do the petting zoo. You know, I don't want people coming in and fucking with my camels. You know,
you want them to yourself.
Well, I want more of no. I want more of like I'd have my homies over or some chicks over or something. We can ride the camels and like have a big pasture. And it's like think about that.
That'd
like
be pretty badass.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Bring a 12-pack. Put your 12-pack on the top of the camel. We're gonna ride around, and it's like we ride out to a bonfire. Our camels are pack animals, so they just chill, and the next thing you know, we're sitting there fucking grilling corn and chicken on a fire with the camels. That is a great thought to me.
Here's what you need to do. Underground Camel Racing League in the cut of Kentucky.
Wow.
They do that.
They do it over in Middle East. I've seen the camel racing. It's wild.
Set you up a track.
That would be crazy. Oh.
Get you a little underground money.
Sleazy E Downs. And like basically.
Those are just camels racing, right? They're not riding them, are they?
No,
they're riding them in the races.
They actually, you know what's funny that you bring this up?
Camels.
Somebody that was on the show, on the podcast, we got into, I was very questioning this answer, and I'm actually going blank right now on who it was. But they said, talking about camel racing, they thought, or maybe I was hanging out with a couple friends, and they said they thought monkeys, like a chimpanzee, was actually riding camels like for camel racing back in the day before it switched to actual human riders. And I said, that's total bullshit. Like I called them out. I said, where the fuck did you get that from? And it was either at a get together or even on this show. I can't remember who it was, but I don't believe that. So I think humans have always tried that route. But to be honest with you, there's a racetrack that's actually in the United States. It's like up in Philly, maybe. And they actually, or Jersey, it's up in Jersey, and they actually run these unique races on one day. Ostrich races, camel races, of course horse racing, there's like cow race. I mean, there's just random ass races. Like, I think they have even, I don't know what else, but I'm just trying to think, maybe even elephant, I don't know. It's just absolutely bizarre. But, I mean, I don't know how camels feel about racing, you know, like I don't know if a camel actually is meant to be raced, or if that, you know, or if it's something that is a serious sport. But I feel like if Kentucky got on the camel racing thing, that would be a unique experience to go
It's
see.
you, dog. You gotta.
That'd be me.
You gotta start the camel racing game.
I just want me and my camel just to be chill. And just like, you know, we just ride and do things. Like, you know, ride that into like a town. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, if we got
there's the camel guy.
If we got 2 camels, we're racing.
I'm racing you all day. Yeah.
We're racing.
Well, yeah, that'd be.
Let's start a small game and move
Yeah,
on
we'll just
up.
race down. Would do like a drag race down Eric Street, like with the camel. Yeah. that'd be
Yeah.
crazy. Shout out to camels for real. They're my favorite animal.
Camel
But yeah,
gang.
that would be something I would want to do. Like, I don't know. It's just because it's one of those things when you say, "What do you want to do?" It's like I've done a lot of things, and there's tons of stuff I want to do, but that's a unique thing.
I think
Yeah,
having
that's
a sea turtle sanctuary would be pretty badass.
You know what? Shout out to the Sea Turtle Center down in Navarre, Florida. There's a little Sea Turtle Center. They actually like help the sea turtles rich. They educate you. You can go. They're open special hours. If you're in the Pensacola Navarre Beach area, go down there and remember, don't speed. There's sea turtles everywhere. Some could be crossing the road. Be careful out there.
Shout out. And single-use plastic.
I actually have a sea turtle on my wall in the
seen that
studio where
photo
we're recording.
and, like,
Yeah.
So on my honeymoon, we went to the Keys and they had a sanctuary out there, man, and it was awesome. You learned a lot about them. They're like, you know, you're not allowed to have them in just like Ripley's, believe it or not, you know, aquarium. Like, they are protected.
Yeah.
And they're hunted all the time. They get caught in nets all the time while they're fishing out there, man. And they're close to being gone. Like, you know,
Oh, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that's close to being gone. You
Yeah,
know,
we gotta
tigers,
be
a
smart
lot of
about that
things.
stuff,
Yeah,
man.
we got to
Like-
start thinking about them instead of ourselves. I mean, and also too, quit trashing beaches. You know,
If you go there and party, have a good time, it's all good.
Clean
but
it
it's-
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, nobody needs to clean your own shit up. Like, it's getting old. All right, so this topic is actually something that I'm not going to talk on because I don't know anything about. However, I learned about this for the first time when I went to the Bonnaroo Music Festival in 2019 in Manchester, Tennessee. Shout out to Bonnaroo, best festival in the world. And I was told by a couple buddies that they were doing it this weekend. And then, of course, you know, I'm more, my podcast is more like Adam 22 and the No Jumper. I'm not saying I'm like him, but I'm saying that's kind of my style of podcast. But Joe Rogan is, he's another famous podcaster. I'm not really like Joe Rogan. I don't think I might be, I don't know. But the thing about Joe, he has done this. He's talked about this a lot with multiple guests, multiple people. This is talking about a drug also that has kind of came back into light here recently. So, and like really, I think people are doing it more common now, especially since it is in media and YouTube and podcasts and radio and festivals. DMT. So we actually, and you all, Kyle definitely could be the one that knows all the facts. I know Eric has done it, but the one thing I'll say before I let you dive in, don't we all have DMT in our brains? Correct, or is that a myth, or am I thinking about it wrong?
It's a dream drug. I believe your body does.
So
do,
it's
right?
supposedly created by your pineal gland.
Okay. Which is, now tell people, I mean, where is that at? Your back of your head?
It's like
Top?
center of your head, between your eyes, right in the center of your brain. That's your
Oh,
pineal
kind of
gland.
like the third eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
if you were to draw a line from your third eye to the center of the top of your skull, where those intersect would be where your pineal gland's at.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's really intense.
yeah, I watched a documentary about how it might not produce enough DMT to actually do anything specifically, like enough to make a trip like you would when you smoke DMT or something like that. But I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I think everybody should give it a dabble. College boy.
She gets you swap.
And Eric's did share that he enjoyed it as well. So the thing about DMT, I'll also ask you this just for people to know. So if you are to purchase DMT from somebody, how much does it cost in the size for something that would be a like basic common thing on DMT? Just out of curiosity, what are people paying for DMT?
Well, the price is like,
I know it probably varies.
$100 gramish, maybe a little better if you know somebody. But
and how long is the experience?
The experience is about 15-20 minutes, all said and done.
But you told me you're taking very small doses. You're not hitting that whole gram that you're buying.
Do your research on your dosage. Don't just go in there all wild lerp on it. Definitely gotta do your research and understand what you're doing. If you're putting anything in your body, know what you're doing, know the risks, know what you got going on. But it's definitely a beautiful thing.
Nice. We're going to move on to another subject here, and I accidentally think I almost ripped it, but this one is like probably my other favorite topic in here, and we actually thought about this before the episode. I did. I'm going to give myself credit, but I said it to the boys, and they agreed it was a great idea, and Kyle immediately said he had an idea. So, this topic is, if you had all the money in the world, you're rich, you're loaded, whatever, and you're like, you know what, I want to create a museum, and it can be my museum, like Eric Karaglanis Museum of Kyle Johnson. So we're going to tell you what museum we would do and why. So I will start, and you got to think about it though when you come to this subject. There's a lot of museums out there. I know we talked about before the show started, there's a lot of basic museums like your history, your sports, your music. Those are your three go-to museums. Either they're a museum or they're a Hall of Fame. And I'll be honest, I've been to a lot, and it's always a great experience. I always enjoy it. I think it's what got me into this topic right here. And however, too, we might name 3 museums, and we might not even realize there might be a museum in Tahiti for this, or Peru. But I would say for an overall museum idea, I actually think a starting lineup museum. And what I mean by that is the old starting lineup figurines, the sports player with the card, and it's like in a cardboard packaging. Starting lineup was huge in the 90s, 2000s. Some are valuable, some aren't worth the shit because of the value and how many were made. Some were limited edition. I have a few starting lineup. They were fun to collect, loved them as a kid. I've sold some, I've traded some, I've bought some. So I really enjoy starting lineup figurines just from the sentimental value. It also makes me think of childhood and just I don't know, it was cool having your favorite player, and that's why like recently I about a few months ago, I think I like way before Derby, I bought a Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Minnesota Vikings dual starting lineup. Saw it on Facebook Marketplace. Dude didn't even like realize he sold it to me $15, and I was like, man, thanks, dude. He's like, I'm just getting rid of shit. It's like mid condition. And so it's cool. It might not even be worth. It might be just only worth $30. They probably made $1,000, but it's dope. That's what museum I would do, because I think there's not one out there, and people would be like, "That's kind of sick," And I probably do it wherever starting lineup started.
That'd be sweet.
Or
sure.
Louisville.
Yeah. Hell yeah. See, I hate to say this because it's kind of like somewhat that we might pick as a topic, but
no, it's fine. I think we're going to double on a topic.
Conspiracy theories would be a really cool museum.
Ooh,
it's kind of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, explain to me how the museum would be set up.
But you have like the magic bullet, Kennedy bullet.
So actually have the stuff there.
Stuff that's there, and like information on it, and like even like mathematical equations on like how this would even happen.
So you actually have items all around this museum, and there'd be like 5 conspiracy theories about that item.
Be like,
and
take,
then people are like,
take away what you want with it, but like this right here doesn't make sense because of this fact.
If you did that museum, I believe you would have to sell a pass that gives them access to 3 days no matter what, because people are going to get caught up in one room. And also, too, now that COVID's gone and there's like less restrictions, people are going to start talking. hey, what do you think about this? Like, to a stranger. It could be a family from Arkansas in your museum and a family from California. And they're like, you all think that? Well, we heard in Arkansas. Or we heard in California. And then it's just like, it's like, I learned about this because everyone comes from like a different background. It don't matter if you're in the same country or whatnot. You can be city, state, whatever. I think that's a great idea. I also think, too, it almost would be like, what if you created your own conspiracy theory for people to solve about the museum as well?
Like do a walkthrough, kind of like almost just like a little weird intervention.
Well, like, or like even have like some actors, and it's like, hey, we have 3 tour guides, and then out of nowhere, a 3rd tour guide just disappears, and then like,
Clue while you're going through.
and then you're like, wait, what happened to Betty? And they're like, well, Betty, and then you all look up, and like Betty is like half of her body's in a T-Rex's like mouth. That's a conspiracy theory, and the other half is like sitting in a polar bear. That's part of a conspiracy theory, and we're like. She's cut in half, and they were like, and then the 2 guys were like, I don't know what happened, and like, and then out of nowhere, they like take one of the guests and they spray their blood on their hands while they're not looking, and the next thing you know, so great. I think I'm getting way too into it. So, Kyle, what about yours?
Cool. Eric says the What Could Be Museum, and mine's also similar to that, a little older, but same kind of What Could Be Museum. I'm a fan of the Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock theory of early human existence, to where they talk about, 11,500 years ago, there was the Younger Dryas event where a comet hit the Earth and wiped out like a lot of the human existence on the planet that was all over the planet. And they talk about like that caused like the flood myth that exists throughout like a lot of religions and like early history. So the comet caused that and wiped out a lot of people. I'd like, if I had the funding, to have a museum and the funding to do the research to explore those claims. Yeah. And put all the evidence for all of their theories into a specific building where people could walk in and explore those ideas. Because if you look at...
Were they starting everything before... were they the ones that were like the first humans, or were they...
So, Homo sapiens, I might get this specific terminology wrong, but we as humans with our specific brain have existed for 300,000 years. Mm-hmm. And then our subspecies were before that. And so we had 300,000 years of existence as cavemen by the mainstream.
Who still did know what some of the stuff that we did.
So, right. Yeah. So, like, up 300 years until, like, 7,000 BC, maybe. Uh-huh. That's when, like, Egypt and stuff started, when we started building cities and all that. Before that, the other 245,000 years was us existing as this, but they say we just lived in caves and we didn't build anything. And now they have, like, Göbekli Tepe, which is, like, 12,000 years ago. And that exists, and that's monolithic structures that they were building, and we're supposed to be living in caveman times and not doing anything but hunting and gathering. Yeah. But obviously we had cities built, and we were like actually creating a lot more, and think to explore that past, because that is a viable possibility. It's not mainstream at all, but it's very interesting to me. I think having a museum with the funds to explore that and put all the research into one place,
nothing wrong with it.
Would be epic.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
it. That's my museum.
I like that. No, that's a great idea. It's something different. It's something out of the ordinary, and there is people that do have specific museums that way. I mean, there's some places you go, like in Riverside, California, they have the world's largest Dixie cup. I mean, who the fuck would have thought that? It's like, so. Okay, this topic was another topic that came up before the show started. I understand she took responsibility, and I understand she did fuck up. Like I get it, rules are rules, whatever. That bullshit statement, kind of like I just hate the way that sounds. But the thing about it is this: there was a athlete that was disqualified from the Olympics here recently. She actually was going to be running the 100 meters. She qualified. She's from the United States, and she was disqualified over marijuana. And she had THC in her from either smoking, doing a dab, edible, whatever she did. And they do very serious testing in the Olympics, and every country does it. But there's been so many doping scandals in the Olympics, it's insane. But and I'm talking to you, Vladimir Putin. But anyway, so the thing about it is, the whole thing about it is with the Olympics is, I just think it's the Olympics are awesome. They also do have some bad things about them as well. But that's with really anything. But with the Olympics, some of these rules are bullshit. There's also it's very hypocritical. Times are changing, times are evolving. People need to get with the same system, and also too, a lot of people don't realize there's even THC in your damn vegetables. So it's like. Also, I've never met anyone that smoked weed and made them run fast, So it's not like this is a performance enhancing thing. So it really just bothers me that this girl's goals and dreams, and when you're trying to be an Olympic athlete, it's dedication, it's your life. And so it's bullshit. And they need to change it. I think she should be allowed to run. And, I don't know the girl. I don't know her from Adam. I know she's admitted that she did wrong, and I know that she dealt with a loss with her mother, and and that's horrible. And I think she had every right to cope with the way she wanted to cope. Everybody has that right as a human being. She should be able to run in the fucking Olympics. Like, it's this summer. That's taking someone's goal away because, again, just very narrow-minded when it comes to something that is a fucking medicine. Wake up. Also, too, something I'll talk about, and it's kind of like what Kyle was saying on his last subject. Like, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but they're also messing with hair caps for the swimmers, and people from different countries have different hair types. Black women have different hair types. White women have different hair types. Like, they should all be able to wear a skin cap that's comfortable for them and what they want for their specific hair. Again, the Olympics are narrow-minded, thinking of things that are not performance-enhancing. If it's a PED, I understand. But come on, like, get with the times, open up, and realize you got to do better. And also, too, for the Olympics, another thing I'll say, there's tons of great things about it. I always watch it. I love watching it. I think it's so cool seeing athletes perform around the world, and these are people's dreams and goals happening, and that's all great, and I love it, and I'm a fan. But however, also too, when these Olympic country, luckily Tokyo's in great shape, but when these Olympics go to some of these countries where summer and winter, where things might not be developed or there's a human right crisis, they don't always help. They always just kind of put the money into the Olympics and the tourists and building that part up, and then they kind of leave, move on to the next country, and kind of leave everything just to sit there. There are a lot of times these countries can't even afford to maintain these stadiums and arenas that were left because there's not enough people to work on, and there's not enough knowledge to do it. Yeah. So, and that's the same thing with the World Cup. FIFA does the same bullshit. So I love the World Cup too. I think the World Cup's amazing. But just remember, there's always some behind the scenes bullshit, and somebody might be getting their, bullshit thrown at them. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the Olympic DQ of that?
I think it's horseshit, 100%. It's not a performance enhancer. I mean, if you want to think about my point of view, it's not bad at all. It's a painkiller. It's less addictive than a painkiller, like taking a Lortab. Lortab is more addictive and more harmful. They have really nothing against pot that they can say it's really a bad effect. the smoke inhalation is probably the worst thing they can say. The tar to your lungs.
Yeah.
Which you can eat in edible form, so then you don't even get that. And then what is it, CBD? That's you get that in rubs now pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
I use that all the time for my back. I got a bad back.
And it's legal. It's becoming legal everywhere.
Smoke a joint.
Yeah.
And then take a Lortab.
Yeah, who would
do that?
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Like, you should be able to do that, and not
get addiction problems. Mm-hmm.
It would fix a lot of things. Kyle, what about you?
Sha'Carri Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard in the past days she was banned, but her ban is 30 days, so she will actually be able to run in the Olympics.
Oh, they're gonna let her run.
Yeah, so she's technically still allowed, but she's still in trouble for smoking weed. But she's gonna be able to run because it was just a ban that was short enough to where she'd actually be able to run at the start of Olympics.
So they're gonna let her run.
Yes.
Thank you for this update, Kyle.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so this is still up in the air, still kind of pending. Kyle, though, says it's leaning towards her being allowed to run, so that's awesome. I'll be honest, I didn't hear that update. I've been super busy this weekend, but that's awesome to hear. And hopefully she does, because that's bullshit. Yeah. And, I don't know her as a person. I don't know her. I don't know her real story besides what she's kind of said and what the investigation or whatever they looked into. But, however, she should not be DQ'd for this. Now, one thing I want to say about the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize this, and this is just kind of a fun fact. The Olympic Village is basically a giant orgy. So they put all the athletes in the Olympic Village, the ones that want to stay there, and they be fucking. They go through I think 150,000 condoms, and maybe they distributed up to 300,000 condoms the last Olympics. And so the condom increase has to keep happening because these athletes can't leave the Olympic Village. They're all beautiful people. They're all athletic. They all have stamina, and they be fucking. And so I'll just say that, and you can Google it. And if you want to say, "Oh, Heat Sleaze is just making up," no, the Olympic Village is a giant orgy. So if you're an Olympic athlete, you're getting laid. So shout out to the Olympic athletes. So when you're watching the Olympics this year, I want you to know that figure skater is about to fuck that sumo wrestler. So
before we get on the subject, though, what happened to Michael Phelps? He was a pothead.
But
did they take away his gold?
No, they didn't take away. But the only thing that he lost was just marketing, advertising people. Of course, some companies had to break apart.
One of the best swimmers ever in the world because he got.
He even was very controversial. He was also the first person, real main huge athlete, to do the cups on your body, where you have the cup things, and it's in the suction things. And a lot of athletes do that now, and you see it, or they're wearing the stretch tape. And a lot of athletes will see another athlete adapt to that. So I think a lot of times Phelps was either doing it first, either was very publicly speaking, and. But he's going to go down as the best Olympic athlete of all time. The dude, I'm not even into swimming. I'll be honest. I turn on TV to see swimming. I'm kind of when Phelps was swimming, I want to see that shit. That's history.
Shark Week, and they did a race just on timing on him, and he about beat a shark swimming.
That's crazy.
They did the swimming time of the shark and him, and he was just shy.
And he's just.
Yeah, I'm just dude.
He's breathing like crazy,
Gotta smoke that weed. You want to be a good swimmer? Smoke that weed.
Smoke that weed to be a swimmer. Okay. This is a subject that I made because me and Eric were playing some epic Madden battles the other night, and Kyle kept talking. He fell asleep and was talking about this favorite meal he had in Colorado of swordfish and a special dessert, and he was like, I had swordfish, and it's a really good. I had to get dessert, and the dessert was really tasty, and then but he was in and out, and so this was, what's your favorite meal that you've ever had? I know this is kind of a broad question, and it can be, you probably had a bunch of your favorite meals, but I will say, I'll just tell you my favorite meal in general, and because it doesn't switch up, It's WW Cousins. Shout out to WW Cousins.
I love WW Cousins. Holla.
Yeah, I love to get a half-pound burger.
Cheese fries.
Oh, I love to get a half-pound burger, pepper jack cheese. I load it up with some lettuce, pickle, onion. I'll throw some peppers on there, sometimes some jalapenos. I'll put barbecue sauce. And then I got them steak fries where I put the seasoning on, the Lowry's. And I dip that in barbecue sauce. And then I usually wash it down with the sweet tea and hit that chocolate chip cookie at the end.
Oh, you gotta get the cookie.
Yeah, so I fuck with the cookie. Shout out to WW Cousins. WW Cousins and me are family. I would love for them to sponsor, but they've done so much for me. They fed me for free forever just because of the relationship I had. So shout out to Cousins. You always treat me on my birthday, and great place. They're like family. Shout out to my boy.
Are they only local?
Shout out to my boy John. Yeah, they're local. They're office-based St. Matthews. They got a new Dixie Highway location. It's supposed to be a super express one where they kind of express make your burger instead of building it, and they just pop you in the drive-thru, and then you got your famous one over in St. Matthews. So, Kyle, what's your favorite meal?
Well, since you brought it up, I feel like I've talked about my most recent favorite meal. I was in Colorado, a little climbing trip. I love climbing. I'm a climber.
Shout out to Colorado.
Nobody knew. That's what I do. Climb, have a good time. I was in Estes or Boulder. We were at a restaurant. Sorry, I can't remember the name, but it is what it is. And I had swordfish. And it was like swordfish with a lot of veggies piled on. It was delicious. And then finished me off with a peanut butter chocolate brownie with some ice cream, but it wasn't called ice cream. It's like some fancy kind of ice cream. Sorry, I'm weak world over here, but it was so good, so delicious. And you know, it's one of those meals we eat like a lot of delicious food, and you walk away feeling good, and you can still do stuff. It wasn't like a meal that puts you in the couch. It wasn't a nap time meal. It's just crisp, beautiful, and perfect. And I got to watch elk, a whole herd of elk run around. It's perfect place, perfect time, perfect meal. You want to go eat a good meal, go to Colorado, eat at where I went. I don't know where it is. Find it. It's up to you. But it was great. They had swordfish.
Nice.
Fire.
What about you, Eric?
So, Keys, man.
Shout out to the swordfish.
Yeah.
Swordfish gang.
Honeymoon style. So I mean, of course, everything's great right now, you know. And we went to this spot that's just down on the water. King something, I'm not sure, but I mean, we were in like Marathon Keys.
Kingfish.
No. Not
Shout out to Kingfish, a local seafood establishment.
Yeah, not the style. This is better. Yeah. So we get there and I got blackened mahi with some just coleslaw, man. It was delicious. But the dessert.
Sheesh. Was it bussin'?
It was bussin' like a motherfucker.
You've always been about black mahi. That's your go-to.
It is. It was bomb. But we also had deep fried key lime pie, and I'm talking about key lime pie. The reason it's called key lime pie is because they started it in Keys.
Well, why is it fried?
Deep fried. They just put a little extra zing on it, you know.
So they dip the pie in the fry.
And breading, and they just deep fry it real quick.
That sounds like something Kentucky did.
I'll tell you what.
Sounds very
I'm a Kentucky
Kentucky
boy, and I was in the Keys. It was a good combo, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm not judging.
That was some Cool Whip, man. Ooh, I should be.
I like key lime. I do like key lime pie. Now, there's a place in Pensacola Beach that's got great key lime pie. I do like key lime pie. It's good. So I'm just trying to picture it fried. But I guess you can have fried Oreos too.
Yeah. You can
fry
ice cream.
Oh yeah. All right. The next topic is aliens. Oh.
Aliens. They're real.
Wow, I didn't.
It's a big topic going
Have
on
y'all
right
ever seen
now.
The Fourth Kind? The movie, The Fourth Kind?
No.
I have not.
Oh. Please, if y'all listen to this, watch that movie and just take your own action. It's a good one.
I will say aliens. My alien experience. Pensacola Beach is just a place I used to go to a lot of my ex, and we almost moved down there. And I was there for years, going down there. And one night, her and I were on like a dock, looking up, like just chilling, drinking some wine, and out of nowhere, there was a spaceship that popped over top the dock. And
I need more explanation.
So what I mean by that is this. I'm sitting there on the Gulf. So I'm sitting there in Pensacola Beach. I'm on the Gulf. I'm on the dock. I'm just drinking some wine. and I see some boaters and everything. And I heard earlier that day, actually from her dad, that it's a big like space area, like where you can see aliens a lot. It's like a very common area where people have sightings and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there on the dock and I look up and I just see some kind of like lights, and it almost looks like plane lights. But then I realize it's an actual whole ship, and it's like literally looks like an octagon. It looks like a Taco Bell tostada, like, you know, the one that's breaded, that's got the corners, like the tight corners. It looks like that in the sky, but black with lights. And I almost saw kind of a fog, and I was looking, and she saw it too, and I tried to take pictures. I couldn't get it, and I was losing my mind. And I was like, I see this, like it's over top. And it was actually very close to an area called like Oriole Drive down there. And I swear to you, I don't have any other alien encounter or space encounter or shit. And it didn't encounter me. It didn't even send me a message. But I saw those lights. That was not a plane. There's nothing that could be floating like that. And for it to be that common in that area, and for us to be there on a weeknight, very late, nobody around, extremely odd.
So you think that's an actual alien encounter, or just something that you don't understand? Are you like?
I think it's a spaceship. I think it's a spaceship.
Alien contact.
Well, I don't think they were. I don't think they were meaning to contact me,
UFO.
but I think they were just observing what was around at that point. I think they were realizing, like, I think they were just right there, and they wanted to see like what's going on.
What's our government?
Well, they're above the water.
No,
well, they're also above the water.
No.
That's another thing I was trying to figure out. Why is this thing above the water? Is it getting energy from the water? Does it want to look under the water? Is it seeing into space? Is this a plane from some government that's studying what is so deep below, and it has a camera that is taking pictures of what's on the bottom of the ocean? Because we still don't know what's on the bottom of the ocean. That's a topic that's not even this bowl. We don't even know what's in the ocean.
We don't know shit.
We don't know shit about the ocean.
No.
We just know about the little shit.
Listen,
We're
like,
so scared of sharks.
70%,
There's shit that's way bigger than sharks.
More than 70% of the ocean has not been
Explored.
correct?
Yeah, and there's no way of doing it. Like the deepest thing, the guy that directed Titanic, James Cameron, he's gone the deepest ever.
They're just Atlanteans. You know, they're just deep down and they're flying up. Maybe they're just Atlantis.
You know, I'll be honest too. I mean,
possibility?
We all know where Atlantis is. Atlantis is in Africa. The Eye of the Sahara. I forget the name. The Ricard structure.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
but I mean, the thing about Atlantis though being, I mean, did it have the underwater thing, the element?
They had water surrounding them in 3 rings. That's another thing with John Hancock.
Graham Hancock and Russell Carlson.
Yeah.
There's a spot. It's called the Ricard structure. It's in Africa. It's in a desert now, but there's once ocean water there because there's like a ton of salt, but it's like 3 loops and like a middle island, and it measures out exactly to Plato's description of what Atlantis was. And it looks like, if you look at it from like a satellite view, it looks like it's all been washed away, and it fits in with the timeline of what they were talking about, the Younger Dryas incident where a comet hit, and basically the comet hit in like upper North America, like Canada type area, and like washed all that away, and then like big tidal wave took out the Ricard, and all those people moved to Egypt, and then Egypt got built up from there. That's kind of
so Atlantis though. The one theory is we weren't living underwater. It was just
it wasn't underwater.
It wasn't originally, and they just say it's underwater people now. It's like
it got washed away. That's how it got annihilated. Was a big water event, big tidal wave type thing.
People always thought it was underneath the water. For a long time. It was a big theory that it was in the ocean.
But the main description comes from Plato. That's where the first description that people have extrapolated off.
What about your thoughts? Well, before we get on this next subject, your thoughts on
UFOs. We're just started going on Atlantis.
Oh, we're starting talking Atlantis. Wow, we didn't talk about aliens. So what are your thoughts on aliens?
My thoughts? I have one story that I thought was weird. That was maybe an alien, but I've always disregarded it as not being aliens. But when I was in middle school, high schoolish, I was jumping on my neighbor's trampoline with Johnny Wright, and we were ended up laying up looking at the sky, and we saw this gray dot, looked like a plane real high up in the sky. We're looking at it, and it's going across the sky, and then it stops and goes back the opposite direction, which obviously no commercial airplane would ever do. And we were like, that's weird. But it was like super high, and it didn't look like anything but a gray dot, so it wasn't like, that's a UFO,
but that makes you think, what is happening up in the sky sometimes? Like, yeah, we've been in planes and we know we're flying to a destination. We might be normal in that plane, but we don't really know what's in the sky. We might look up, but who the fuck has time during the day to really sit, unless you're a kid or you're fucking sunbathing? That's the only two options where you're just gonna be sitting there looking up at the sky all day. And to be honest, I've sat and looked at the clouds, looked at the sky. It's hard to focus on one area. Mm-hmm. So we don't really focus on what's moving around up there. It's just the government and spaceships do that. Or like there's satellites and shit.
So how do you feel about all the government, like Navy pilot videos of unidentified flying things moving at ridiculous speeds and doing ridiculous maneuvers that the government has officially released and saying we don't know what these are? Have you seen anything about that?
I've seen them. And to be honest with you, my dad emailed me about 2 years ago talking to me about space and about some of the things that he was hearing. And the reason I bring him up is, a lot of people thought he went crazy, but Blink-182's former lead singer, he put about $20 million into a space research program, aliens, the whole thing. My dad's been following him, really into that. My dad's not like a big space or alien guy, but he's just told me about it. I got informed with it. I've watched that footage of some of the stuff they've released, and to be honest with you, it is good to know that they finally are fucking admitting that they don't know what it is. And second of all, though, it does make you wonder, what is it? Because if we don't have that technology, no other country has that technology. And also too, it's like it's kind of like, what are they doing on another planet to have those maneuvers, and who is okay? It does make you think. It makes you think for sure.
Yep. I know they've released their so in the COVID bill there was a stipulation in it, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the right wording, but a part of it was the government had to release all their information on unidentified flying objects, and they had 6 months to do it, and that's happened now. And I think the numbers that I can recollect is probably off by a little bit, but it's like 155 of 159 sightings are classified as 100% unknown what they were, and that's
scary, ain't it?
I'm not afraid of it.
You think they're just researching us or checking us out?
I don't know what it is, but if it's 155 deep and they haven't done nothing, I don't think they're going to do nothing.
You never know. It's wild.
Yeah.
So bourbon, let me ask you this.
What you got?
What's your favorite bourbon?
Oh.
That's the next subject.
Well, before we're off that, we should talk about Joe Rogan with Bob Lazar.
Yeah, the Bob Lazar interview. Now, I don't listen to a lot of Rogan, but the Bob Lazar thing was very interesting. I did hear that.
And he pretty much worked it like right outside of Area 51. Like, they took away his freaking like graduation certificate, acted like he was
erased
a student
him.
In there. Yeah,
they erased him.
And like, it's plain and simple out there. Like, that's just knowledge, and like nobody talks about it. It's fucking crazy.
It's very interesting because I think people are just always so afraid of mass hysteria, and it's but we're so gullible. Not just Americans. I'm talking about just humans in general. When fucking Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, he was reading War of the Worlds, the book. It's a made-up book. It's fiction. Yeah. When he read that on the radio back in the 30s, he scared everybody, and everybody thought people were committing suicide. People were rushing in their savings, going to the grocery, going to the bank. It's insane. So it's just very gullible. Bourbon. My favorite bourbon's Maker's Mark. You want to go another? You want to stay on this one?
Real quick with the people being afraid of what exists. I think that's a weak ass argument.
I was talking about Orson Welles.
Well, I know, but people are scared of Orson Welles. That's why the government hides stuff from us. I think that's a weak ass argument. I think that if the government knew something, to hide it, they're denying so much attention towards contacting something else that exists. If they know it exists, right, then they're hiding it because we'll get scared. I think that telling everybody, let them freak out a little bit, and then actually letting us divert money from, our petty little civil discourses that we have.
Yeah.
Then to where it'd be a country unifying thing. Let's go find out what's actually going on. Let's talk to these things. Just being oh, everybody was scared. I think that's lame as fuck.
I think I totally get that, but I'm saying though, I think that's why they do that bullshit though.
I think they're trying to baby onto us. I really do. I think that shit's out there and people are gonna start fucking learning about it.
Maybe it's for our kids. Maybe it's for our kids and the next kids to keep learning it, or they're gonna learn more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think we'll ever be just hanging out with aliens?
No.
Sharing a culture with
them? Too far away.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe eventually, and
maybe our grandkids.
If we don't burn this planet up in 10,000 years, we'll have the technology to travel the universe. But the universe is big.
And this country is burning.
Even
the climate change, ozone shit is bad.
Even the closest things are real far away.
Yeah.
And
very far.
I don't know. I think
these planets are far.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at
we really don't know.
If you look at our we as humans, our reach into the universe. If you look at what we've put out from the start is the beginning of our radio signals. So when the radio first was invented, it's 170 years ago, 100 or 70 years ago. I don't know when it was. It was 100-ish years ago. We made the radio. Started producing radio signals. So the farthest we've reached with our signals is 100 light years from here. And if you look at that compared to a map of the Milky Way galaxy, it's not even across our own galaxy. It's a small, tiny little subsection of our galaxy.
Wow.
So if you think we've been communicating with galaxies for where they can respond to us, we haven't reached that far.
Because we're young on
just because of how big the universe is. You can't reach that far.
I feel like we know so much, but we're still so green on it.
Basically all we're doing is looking at things that were produced, way before we were even producing signals ourselves. So you look at the next closest star. I don't know how far away it is, but I'm pretty sure we haven't reached that with our signals. Maybe we have. I don't know. But maybe 1 or 2 stars, and then everything else is way before, back when we were caveman time. That's the signals we're, receiving, which, of course, they could be more advanced than us. And in an earlier timeline, we received their signals. We haven't found any. But our signals going out are still so close and to us that I don't think a lot of people who think about it understand how little we've reached out yet. We're just looking for stuff they've made, and not necessarily stuff they've heard from us and that they're responding to.
Well, yeah, I'm basically, I feel like, I don't know, it makes me really wonder. I mean, I feel like I could think about it for hours, just really trying to think what is out there.
You know what's something else that's crazy?
Yeah.
The universe is so big, there's parts of the universe that are so far away that the light from that part of the universe will never reach us. We'll never know anything about that part of the universe because it's so far away. But it exists. But
it makes you really wonder if there's a world like this, though. I mean, of how big our world is now, we wonder if there is a world that's just doing it better than us right now, like a whole, or you
That's
know.
that multi-universe ordeal, right? I thought that
It all exists. Everything exists.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
This
So
is my podcast on another universe.
yeah. I mean, this is deep. So another topic I pulled out.
All right, bourbon.
Was bourbon.
Let's go.
And we're in Kentucky, the bourbon state, and I actually just had a Maker's Mark barrel of my own, my personal barrel, and I got to bottle it. So I got my bottle right now. I'm actually looking at it, so it looks pretty good. But yeah, I'd say Maker's is my favorite bourbon. I have quite a bit of collection, but I've always been a Maker's guy, but I like them all. I did the Bourbon Trail originally, the original Bourbon Trail, and then they've added so many stops, so there's now some new ones I want to check out. But what's your favorite bourbon, Eric?
My cheap go-to, because I'm a drinker. Buffalo Trace, probably. You know, that green label. It's about $23 a fifth, and it's I think about the smoothest you can get. I love Makers. I love Makers. It's on that line too. I think Makers burns a little bit more. And then was it Blatant Bow? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It has a key on the bottle. It's about $50 for a fifth, but that I think is honestly some top of the line shit that's kind of under talked. That's some really good stuff. That's one on my fancy night ordeal.
What about you, Kyle?
I don't know if I have a favorite. Like I love.
Right now, you're drinking Jim Beam. Shout out to Jim Beam.
Listen, Jim Beam it's good, but it's cheap.
It is cheap.
And that's why I've got it sitting in front of me right now.
I actually have my picture on the side of a Jim Beam bottle right there. I got a Jim Beam, and they put Eric Beam on the side, and I'm in the family of all the pictures. It's a very can't even do that anymore. So shout out to Jim Beam. I did some cool shit back in the day. I mean, like I said, I still try to do a bunch of cool shit, but I definitely in the bourbon game was exploring and networking and bebopping around the trail, and it's in my family. So yeah, we like the bourbon. I'm gonna pull on another topic here, and I'm gonna get on favorite sauce.
Sauce?
Yeah. So my favorite sauce is Montgomery Inn's barbecue sauce. Shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio, and Northern Kentucky. Montgomery Inn is a barbecue restaurant. It's got multiple restaurants in the Northern Kentucky, Ohio area. And basically the Cincinnati Boathouse is a famous Cincinnati landmark, and it is the best restaurant in Cincinnati. So you can buy the barbecue sauce at Kroger. Kroger's from Cincinnati as well. So Montgomery Inn barbecue sauce, number one. For a reason. Sponsoring Montgomery Inn.
I'll swipe in here because I'm similar, but you're way more specific than me. If I were to pick any sauce, my favorite sauce on anything is a barbecue sauce.
Shout out to barbecue.
I love barbecue, especially like a hot barbecue, a little spice in my barbecue. That's my game. But I don't have a specific name for a brand. I just love me some barbecue.
Yeah, shout out to barbecue.
So I'm gonna be basic on all my dipping ordeals. Like if I get some hot wings or if I have some fries, something like that, some gator or some cauliflower or whatever. Ranch, Hidden Valley. Even though I honestly pretty much every restaurant I think makes better ranch.
Yeah.
Hungry Pelican, 100% best ranch you'll ever have in your life.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Is it spicy?
No, it's house made. I don't know. They probably just buy a generic mixture, but it's delicious. I don't know what they do. It's on point though.
Wow.
It smacks.
Okay.
But if I want anything with a little kick, sriracha.
Okay.
Gotta go with sriracha, man. I love my sriracha sauce.
Nice.
I like
Very
sriracha.
nice. Okay. That's awesome.
I'm not a big ranch guy though. I'm more of a blue cheese. Give me some wings.
And
Okay.
that chunky shit.
Everybody loves ranch.
I'm not a big white sauce guy. I will eat
Blue
ranch,
cheese,
but I don't fuck with like mayo or I usually
love mayo.
my favorite salad dressing is the bloomin' sauce from Outback. If I'm at Outback, I get that on my salad, and if I could get that everywhere. Ooh.
Outback, their Aussie fries, that ranch that they have, that might be their best ranch.
That does have a kick. That does have a kick too. All right, your favorite animal. So I've already talked about my favorite animal, which is the camel. I have actually, I've been to 40 zoos. I'm a big zoo guy. I'm Aquarium Zoo Association member. So animals to me are very important, conservation, and just keeping them around for years to come. And but camels are definitely my favorite. Just when I was a kid, I got to go in the camel exhibit. I used to do camel rides, and I've just always had good encounters. But my backups are probably the tiger, which I did just enter the Kentucky State Fair with the tiger photo I took. Hopefully I win. State Fair is coming in August, so I've officially entered the photo contest for that. So
everybody vote for Eric Clark and his tiger.
Yes, do it. I need that blue ribbon. Shout out to the fair.
Mm-hmm.
So who's your favorite?
That's a hard one, but I mean, turtles are overall my favorite animal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess are they even an animal? They reptile.
Reptile, yeah. But you can consider them an animal, yeah. So that's fine.
They aren't a plant.
Yeah, I know. But I'd have to say turtles. I've always loved them. Always been intrigued by them.
Nice.
Like even just the tortoises. They're just like I'd love to like if I have a kid, I want to get a tortoise.
For the kid.
Yeah, because that tortoise will live his entire life and maybe even his kid's life. Like that'd be awesome. That's cool. But I'm also like a dog lover. You know, I got that German Shepherd not too long ago. Big boy.
Shout out to
Atlas,
he's a beast.
My cat's name's Atlas, so it's two Atlases. Yeah.
Eric and Atlas. We're small town.
Atlas gang. Yeah. Kyle, what about yours?
Alright, so back in the day, in 4th grade, favorite animal was the kangaroo. Solid animal. Jumps around.
Has
will
a pouch,
whoop you.
You know,
will whoop you.
A
little marsupial action. A little Australia game. It's good. I'm a fan of that from my furry friend. In Colorado recently, I saw a ton of hummingbirds, more than I've ever seen in my life, and they hung around for minutes, not just like, oh, there's a hummingbird, it's gone. No, there's like hummingbirds battling over the creek and stuff. Favorite bird, hummingbird, and reptile, turtle gang all day.
Nice, yeah. And the thing I'll say about hummingbirds, some hummingbirds can be mean. There's actually a hummingbird over by the former, I guess it's called, is it Hoops now? That's way out there and like out by the Summit, out that way by the Tinseltown movie theater. It's like a bar that's out over by the industrial park. Yeah, it's called like Hoops or something. It's like a Bill's bar. I'm trying to think of what it is. But anyways, there's a hummingbird out that way, and there's rumor that he'll attack you. And I've heard this from multiple people. So watch out for the hummingbird of the East End. All right. This one is what is your favorite thing that you collect currently? And I'll say mine. You can clearly see in the house. I collect glassware from places and bottles and different things. That's probably my favorite thing to collect. I'm a very big collector of tons of stuff, sports stuff, autographs, photos, coins. I'd probably say my favorite thing to collect is smash pennies. I like doing those, the smash pennies.
You like from zoo and stuff?
Yeah, and there's a big smash penny site. You can actually order smash pennies, but you can also, there's a place where you can actually online find every smash penny machine in every state and country. And it has them all laid out, so it's pretty cool. Somebody really took the time to do that. What's your favorite thing you've collected, Eric?
Man, I'm a sports guy.
Yeah.
Die-hard Cards fan.
Mm-hmm.
Go Cards and
go Cards.
Go
Cats.
Cats.
From California, so I'm a die-hard 49ers fan as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of one of the rare ones out here in Kentucky, but you know, I got a Bosa jersey signed and certified. I got a Brandon Ayuk jersey signed, certified, but I mean, I also got like, you know, Johnny Unitas football signed, Lamar Jackson, like that. I'm lucky to have what I have, but I'm definitely addicted to it. I love my sports stuff, and it's just George Kittle, like all of them. It's just cool to follow them and like have a little piece of them. Muhammad Ali gloves are probably my greatest piece for sure.
Shout out to Ali.
Yes, sir. The greatest from the Ville.
From Louisville, yes. Kyle. We noticed that you do collect some rocks, like the gems and the.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I like rocks; they're pretty, but that's not my most I'm not a big collector on things. I don't have a lot of specific things, but one thing that intrigues me the most, if I were to have a thing that I'd like to have, I like small, intricate things, like small machines. Like,
nice.
If you had like old school watch with all the gears and stuff, it's small and it works, and like that's the type of thing. I like something like that, or just like really precisely built, intricate things that I could hold in my hand. That's what I want. But I don't have a lot because I don't know.
Expensive.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
I
actually have a Lionel train watch. I
Yeah.
should show it to you. It's pretty cool. You might be interested in it. It's,
yeah, it sounds good.
It's in a case, and it's pretty old. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that's neat. So this is so this one is another thing that I really don't know much about. I've not done much of this in my life. I've done it like at some wall places. Like I've done it down there at the old it was called Ghislaine's, but now it's like Dick's Sporting Goods. The one there in Oxmoor, yeah. And then I've also done it at a few other little places, but never really got into it too much of climbing. Went out to Denver here last November and did some kind of just walking around. I didn't do much climbing. My one buddy really climbed really high. He had a what is it called, the photo thing on the stick. What's that called?
Selfie stick?
He had like a selfie stick, and he was doing it from these angles, and it was pretty insane. I was just kind of watching that because I was like, this is cold as shit up here. And then I just kind of was like, I noticed a chipmunk up there. It was pretty cool. I was like following that. So, but other than that, I mean, it was just like, that was probably my climbing experience. Besides, I've done some like hiking and stuff like that. But you're a climber, Kyle, right?
I am a climber.
So this is your subject. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get in. I like nature. Surprise. It's a good time. I like going out into the world and being in places that not a lot of people go to. You're out there exploring the world, and what makes it more exciting is getting on some rock that is kind of sketchy. You might fall, you might not, but if you know what you're doing, you won't. But when you're up there, you're like, this is epic. It's a place that not a lot of people can get to. Like recently, I just got back from Colorado. I went on a climbing specific trip to Colorado, and we climbed the Flatirons, which are, if anybody's ever been to Boulder, it's these giant rock faces that stick out of the ground. They're about 1,000 feet apiece, and me and my cousin and his wife, we did some multi-pitch climbs up those 1,000-footers, did like 5 pitchers and stuff, and then we hiked to Long's Peak, and also climbed on the Dinosaur's Foot, which is a sport climbing crag on top of a mountain out in Colorado, and that was pretty cool.
It's got some epic pictures. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we could post them on a video or your Facebook page. I don't know how you post pictures, but I got a few. But anywho, climbing's the best. I love it. It's the best mental, physical game that you could ever do. You know, you go out and you got to figure out how to get up the thing. And it takes body, mind, and soul. You're fighting your mentality of, I don't want to fall, but you're also using your body to figure out where you should go next. Mental game, thinking of how you're gonna get up there.
Do you wear a harness?
Yeah, yeah. I don't free solo. I just free climb stuff. But I think it's a very beautiful sport, especially for me. Now in my days, I'm getting kind of old. Not really old. I'm like 30-ish, but climbing's slower. It's a lot more precise with your movements compared to like football or soccer or something where you're just hauling ass.
Mm-hmm.
And climbing is way more just physical in the moment, you yourself. It's beautiful, and it takes you to the most amazing places you could ever be.
Do you think you would ever climb Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore?
Like climbing a nostril?
pretty sure that's illegal, but I try it.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool for you to do it and then say, "I know you that you did that."
Yeah,
my buddy climbed in the nostril.
Like if I could get in there and do it, for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
So, something that we all grew up on big in our generation was a channel, and if you had cable, which I think all three of us had at one point in our lives, it was channel 42, also 27 at some points, but Nickelodeon. If you had I'll say this, my favorite cartoon, that's the question, is your favorite Nickelodeon cartoon from growing up. There was tons of great Nickelodeon programming. They had ones with real people. They had cartoons. Doug is my favorite cartoon of all time. But Arnold, Hey Arnold, like an episode where Arnold goes and sees Lockjaw at the aquarium episode. That episode is highly emotional. It's a very intense episode. Shout out to Lockjaw. And that's the best Hey Arnold episode. Probably the best Nickelodeon episode of all time of any show. It has comedy, action, emotion, and it actually goes back again. It's about a turtle. So again, we're talking about turtles. But yeah, so Lockjaw, Hey Arnold. Yeah. But what about what's your favorite cartoon from Nickelodeon era?
So I'll give you the people in the cartoon. Cartoon, it's gotta be Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, that's a great
one. That was my shit back in the day for sure. But I also loved what was it? Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! There was this one episode of Red Man is what I called him when I was a kid, and it was when they went swimming and there was a kid that had drowned in the pool. And I guess the chlorine turned this guy red, when he was a ghost ordeal. It was funky. You need to check it out.
It's scary. That show fucked with me for years.
I had my backyard pretty much all my life, and every time I close my eyes in the fucking water, I'd see fucking Red Man in the back of my head. I'm just scared shitless. I was a little pussy for a while because of that episode. It fucked with me.
That episode was serious. That was not a joke. That whole show is not a joke. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a real show.
Classic for sure.
Now, what about you, Kyle?
My all-time favorite show on Nickelodeon. I love them all, but you gotta go Rugrats.
Yeah,
Rugrats was my stuff. I grew up on Rugrats. Tommy Pickles, Holla at Your Boy. That was my show. Gotta love Rugrats. Angry Beavers, that's good.
Cat Dog.
Rocco, definitely classic all time. I'm Nickelodeon over Comedy Central.
Yeah.
All day. I don't want to put any fighting words out there, but
aren't they like in a Viacom disagreement or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think like both of them are like fighting. All right. So we talked about some places you want to go. Where's the best trip you've ever done? I'd say my best trip was going to Norway, and then I went to Sweden. And I went to like Oslo, and I visited this girl that was a foreign exchange student in my high school, and I stayed over in Norway, and I literally thought about like moving to Norway, but I came back. But it was absolutely incredible. Great experience, food, the people, just a great time. Met some friends, made a lot of lifelong friends. So shout out to Norway. That was my best trip so far. What about you all?
Go ahead.
Norway sounds epic. I haven't been out of the country, but I'd love to. But my probably best trip I've ever been on is definitely Colorado for climbing, because I've been out there on a mission, and I just think Colorado, the mountains, is the most beautiful place you could ever be in. I've been to the beach. It's great. I know everybody loves the beach, but get in the mountains. Do something real.
Something different.
It's better.
Yeah, I feel it.
I mean, the Keys, I gotta say my honeymoon. Well, it literally, you gotta have time spent too, Like, I went to Cozumel, Mexico, and it was beautiful, but I was on a cruise, and I spent like only 5 hours there, so it's like, as beautiful as it was short-lived, and like, the Keys were gorgeous, and I was there for 10 days. So,
yeah.
Like, I got to experience a whole lot, and so, like, just taking in everything, just riding the jet skis on the water, man, and we got caught in the storm.
Yeah.
Just little stuff like that, and being able to take your time and explore the area was really the key for me in that one. But Cozumel's beautiful. one of the cheapest trips I ever went to. I was with Kyle actually and Ethan Overhausen. Louisville Cardinals 2013 when we went to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We went to the Final Four in the championship game that apparently didn't exist.
No, that exists. I was there.
It don't exist. It's not real.
2013
I watched it happen,
champions.
Bro. We shot the Shockers.
Michigan won. Michigan won.
Michigan didn't win shit. They got work.
So we
Luke
were there for that.
Hancock in the house.
Yeah, 3 and then a 3 and then a 3 and then a 3. Let's go. And then Montrezl Harrell just dunking it. It was beautiful. But that was one of my favorite trips just because of how short and cheap it was. Like, it was just, everything just bumped up.
It worked out. It worked out great.
It was a good time.
This one is weed versus alcohol. So, clearly there's both being intaked, but I will say this. I would prefer weed over alcohol. I also think weed's better for you. I think it's also can be used in different ways besides just smoking, and it's a medicine, and it's from the earth, and it's good. I know that the same thing with lit alcohol, that's true too as well. And there is some good alcohols out there, and I'm like I said, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I drank it as well, but I would prefer that over. Well, what about you all?
So I'm a drinker for sure, but I'm a smoker as well. What I was trying to get at on that was I think that weed is better than alcohol, just like as a influencer in general. Like, you get a little buzz, makes you feel good, relaxed, but like there's really no bad side effects to it.
True.
And like, shit, if you have a problem with a guy and you're drinking that day, there's a good chance that you guys might fight. But if you both had been smoking that day, you will probably make amends and be cool with each other at the end of the day. No problem. And then I think weed has a really bad rep with being considered a gateway drug. And I think that's completely horseshit.
It's bullshit. It's all made up stuff.
I'll tell you what, every time I've experienced on any kind of hardcore drug, I was drunk. I was buzzed up off alcohol. When I'm smoking weed, I'm like, nah, I'm good, I'm just gonna chill. But when I drank, I'm like, fuck it, let's try it.
It'll kind of make you do, make you do whatever. What about you, Kyle?
I think that specifically, I don't like to make distinctions between things. Like, you a second ago said weed was from the earth, so it's like a naturally grown chemical. And a lot of people make that distinction, like, oh, this I can find in the ground, it's a chemical. But all drugs are chemicals. They're all their own thing. They all have their own specific influences on your state of mind. And I think they all have their own benefits and disadvantages.
Do you think they're better than alcohol?
Just weed?
Drugs. Just drugs.
Well, what's a drug?
Any drug. Like anything that's considered a drug.
Well, hang on. Let's talk about what's considered a drug. What is a drug?
Well, the drugs that you take.
What do you think that inebriates your...
Like recreational.
Caffeine's considered.
Well, look.
Like weed, but besides weed, like cocaine, ecstasy.
Drugs that are illegal?
Yeah, drugs are illegal.
Well, let's make a distinction on why they're illegal. You know why they're illegal? Are they illegal because they're bad for you? Is that why they made it illegal? Probably not, because arsenic's still illegal, and that's like the worst poison ever. It's because they're not necessarily good for you, but they're fun.
Yeah.
That's why they're illegal. And I think it has a shitty system to decide how things should be classified.
True.
I think alcohol is worse than a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get with the weed.
Look. I'm with you. I'm not saying... alcohol, I guarantee most people make the worst decisions they've made when they were shit-faced.
Yeah.
100%.
We all have.
We've all done it. I'm one of them. But, I don't think that we should be comparing them as things that are pre-thought of as bad. Like, it's pre-thought of as separately as a drug because it's a drug. It shouldn't be like, this is a drug, therefore I'm going to make my decisions about it from that starting point.
I feel you.
It should be, this does these specific things to me or somebody else, then this is what it does, and extrapolate from there.
Yeah.
And you know,
I feel it. No, you're good. You nailed it. All right, we'll move on to another subject. And this one, actually, I'm gonna save that one for last. So I'm gonna, since there's only two left, so I'll save this one for last. I'll pull up this one though. So this one is actually, both of these are great. So I'm wondering which one I should save for last.
since there's two.
So we'll do historic toilet practices now. The reason this one was brought up was I've always wondered what people's thoughts and opinions. It's never been brought up on the podcast, but have you ever sat and thought, as like a listener, and I'm being serious, like thought about, damn, how was it going to the restroom back in the day? And I watch like a lot of history stuff. I follow like weird history on social media, like different things. And you know, like back in the Roman days, there was like bathhouse where people would poop and pee, and like, but you'd like wipe your ass with a sponge on a stick, and then somebody else would you would grab that sponge and then use it on your ass that somebody just used on their own ass. And you know, you have outhouses and all these different things, and like, you know, then I watched like a Vice show, and there's actually a country that they're still pooping on the beach. It's like, it's just crazy how different people, you know, plumbing and pooping. So have you ever thought about how horrible it would have been to use the restroom back then?
So with the job I do, I work at a lot of construction sites.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than going and like literally, I mean, everybody has to shit. You know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, sometimes you get there in the morning, you had a cup of coffee, smoked your little nicotine, and you're like, oh fuck, I can't wait until we go on our lunch break or anything. Like, it's happening now.
Yeah.
And you go in there and it's hot as balls.
Oh yeah. It's warm.
So flies are just flying around, and it's like 10 people had 10 different meals and they were all bad right before you.
Oh, that's how it is at a music festival. Like, that's how I feel at a music festival. You literally, as soon as you go in the porta potty, you're like, fuck, what did this guy eat before? It's everywhere.
This is today's living.
Yeah. That's what's
Could you
crazy.
imagine, man, you know, 1800s? Like,
Oh, it'd been awful. They used to throw it
fuck.
in the street in France, and like you'd walk down the street, and people are like have rats in my. So the wives would just throw out the bucket from. It's just disgusting, and the smell, and you know that's why like New Orleans now, like they spray the streets with lemon perfume. They do that in a lot of places. I think back in the day, with perfume, or they'd wear masks that had roses like pushed in them. So people were wearing masks back then, but had flowers pushed in their face.
To cut
Like,
the smell.
yeah, it was just awful.
Oh,
so,
God. Yeah.
what about you, Kyle? You ever thought about it?
I have thought about this. I had this question similarly, not specifically, asked to me when I worked for LG. But I was at a conference one morning, and somebody randomly asked if you could live in any time out of all the history, when would you live? And I thought about it, and I was like, man, it's been a shitty world until now. And I was like, I want to live in the future. Everybody's like, oh, the future, stoner head. I was like, no, think about it. Think about the past. It's a shitty world you lived in. And now I could like I want to see some shit. Like I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
It was a shitty world back
shit
then.
on a
dude.
rock.
You know, I mean, as much as history's so dope, you're completely right, Kyle. Like, as much as history's dope looking back on, and there's probably cool things that we might have wanted to see, there's not that much cool shit that I really wanted to see that is worth living then. And everybody that lived back then, their life sucked ass. Like, I'll be honest, like, it might be shitty sometimes to live now.
We have some easy times.
That's what I mean. But I'm saying you might have shitty days here and there, like where it's like, oh, this isn't gonna be whatever. But we pretty much have it made. I mean, plumbing, you know, air conditioning, heating. Like we think of all this shit.
Can you imagine right now in this summer living without AC right now?
Oh, you'd be just dying. You'd be smelting.
It's
my
never,
dad's like, how could you live through it?
Body
it's like, well,
odors,
back
everything.
in the day, you know, I mean, you were just used to it. You know, if you're outside all day, you're fine. But if you walk into the AC for 1 second, you're just like, my God, what have I been missing? Like, fuck outside, let's chill in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those cases where it's like on anything besides just plumbing. it's the HVAC, it's also the carpet, wood. I mean, just anything, just so many different things that we just washer dryer. I mean, there's things that we like don't realize that we really have at an advantage.
Oh, yeah. It's never been as good as it is now.
That's
Even
true.
If you have a bad day, it's never been this good. We chill. I'm sitting on a couch, talking to my homies, talking to the world. It's never been this good.
It's very chill. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. You can just listen to somebody else do it or watch someone else do it. You can just,
that's another thing. That's another thing.
You can experience
everything.
I
can literally pull up anything on this laptop and look at it.
Yeah.
And that's what's insane.
You have the world in your hands.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And it's pretty dope. So the last one is different kinks. So the reason this is a subject, we were thinking of random subjects, and we're thinking of funny shit to think of. And what are some of the weirdest kinks that you've heard out there, people that like to do? Like I have actually, back in high school, I saw a horrible thing. People that have sex with farm animals. And I just remember in high school, somebody sent me this fucked up video of somebody getting like fucked by a horse, and it was horrible. It traumatized me for a little bit. And I'll be honest, that's probably the weirdest kink I've ever heard, and that's pretty kinky. Like, just fucking different farm animals.
LimeWire was a ratchet time.
LimeWire was a fucked up time.
I've seen some girls get some fucked by some nasty ass animals.
It was messed up.
We were kind of talking about the other day, because, like I said earlier here, my dad was Porno Frank. I had some porns, and Eric Clark is the motherfucking eBay man. So,
I'm selling some porn right now. Holler at me if you want some porn. I'll make you an offer.
We got you China out there, we're good to go. We're good.
I got 19 Pam Anderson magazines.
Yeah, let's go. But we were talking about how one of the playmates was attracted to my dad, and her husband wanted to watch them.
And that was Jenny McCarthy.
Yes.
So, Jenny McCarthy,
Shout
woo, woo, woo. Everybody download this podcast to hear that scoop. Jenny McCarthy. She's with one of the dudes from New Kids on the Block now.
Yeah.
One of the Wahlbergs.
But I just couldn't imagine that. Like, hell no. Like, I'm never gonna watch that. I'd kill somebody.
That's a big cuck thing. I mean, that's another thing I think a lot of dudes are into. Like, I'll be on Tinder and like chicks will be like, "Hey, will you bang me in front of my husband?" and vice versa. I've had recently. I had a deal where I'm with this lesbian chick and her girlfriend's into me being with that lesbian chick. So I mean, it's some fun shit. It's like there's some fun stuff out there. So sometimes you can take advantage of, but there's some things like. I would never be a cuck. I can never sit there and watch, but I'll do the fucking if you need me to. So, so what about you, Kyle? What's some weird things?
I got a fun one for you that I found out that has a name for it. Last night I was watching a show about quicksand.
Oh shit!
Quicksand.
Quicksand's scary.
Yeah, right. It's actually not as scary as you think. It's
ain't it like
it's
the
a
more
kink
you
of mine,
fight,
though.
it's almost like a Chinese finger trap. The more you fight, the more you keep going.
So the way quicksand works is you are more dense than the quicksand, but essentially, if you don't struggle, then you will only sink halfway, and that's as far as you'll sink. It's like a boat floating in the water, and you'll float on quicksand just like a boat will float on water, and so.
Does it do anything to your body when you're below quicksand? Is it like getting your legs tight, or is it
when you fight? It's like those
Chinese finger traps.
No,
right?
I can't think of the name. You know that liquid that gets hard when you smack it?
Yeah.
That stuff.
It's soft when you're slow and easy with it,
right.
But if you hit it, it's like gets hard.
Quicksand's the opposite of that. So the more you fight, the more viscous.
So you'll sink yourself when you're fighting.
The stuff gets, so you'll sink faster, but you won't sink naturally below halfway. But
now,
anywho,
there's only sand below you, right?
It's sand with water. It's sand hydrated with water to where it's like.
That's gotta suck though. How do you get out of quicksand?
You gotta go slow.
Somebody's gotta pull you though, right?
No, people pulling you is a bad time. Like, they have to be away from the kickstand because a lot of times people try and get in there and pull you out and they'll just get stuck too. And it's you gotta be outside the quicksand.
I watched a video and this lady, she's stuck in it. She grabs her elbows while she's, waist deep. And she digs her elbows right above her head and then just puts them down and like kind of pulls herself slightly, lifts them up again, pulls herself slightly until she can get her knee out. And then she will pull herself slightly and extends that leg until she can get this leg all the way out in step.
Oh, so she's doing it very slow.
Yeah, you had to take steps at it, but that was pretty intriguing to watch. Like if you're trapped, it was like, how do I escape quicksand video?
Yeah,
Just one of those days where you're bored in bed, just watch fucking.
If somebody just tries to pull you directly out of it, your bottom half will get like suctioned in, and you can like rip your bones out of socket and stuff. So like just yanking somebody out is like the worst thing you could possibly.
So you're literally like, oh, it just sounds horrible to happen.
But the reason for this story is there's a quicksand kink. They're called sinkers, where they're into people who are in mud and stuff, like dirty old sloppy people. They're called sinkers.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Yeah, that's the wildest kink I've heard of. I heard about it yesterday.
That
It's not like they can have sex in the quicksand, right? It's like, I guess, just whoever's head's above.
I didn't go down the rabbit hole far enough to find out how
they're trying to see how far they can go.
I just know there's the sinkers who like some dirty old friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
some mud play.
I will say this episode is gone. Officially probably over 2 hours. We're at the 4:18 mark. I want to say this. We grabbed some topics. We shared some stories. We dove into extra stories. Shit, like we were talking about Atlantis wasn't even a subject. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Episode 20 has been a blast. I want to thank Eric and Kyle. Eric, how can they get a hold of you if anybody wants to reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook, just Eric Karaglanis. There's not too many of them out there.
Louisville, Kentucky.
I'll post to your Facebook, so where you can reach if you want to. And then
shout out to Eric's wife, Becca. We'll give Becca a shout out.
Also, check out Brian's War. We got some concert going on, man. September 17th and 18th.
Brian's
you can come
War.
check it out.
And Kyle, what about you?
I'm on Facebook. There's 9 million Kyle Johnsons. You're just going to have to get lucky. I'm on there, so find me if you want.
Yeah, so you can contact both of them. They're both on my friends list. You can contact me with vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com. Follow me at Vibing With Sleazy, the podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely reach out. I love fan mail. I love the comments. I appreciate everybody that's been writing in. I appreciate all the love and support. Keep downloading. Keep listening. Let's get this in South America. It's worldwide. Vibing With Sleazy, the podcast, episode 20. One episode left for season 1. We'll be doing season 2 here late summer going into the fall. I appreciate you listening. We are out. Peace.
Later.
Peace.